Hi everyone, today is Thursday, 2nd of October 2025. Welcome to my channel, Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Mina Crichton. Hi everyone, welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. I'm just going to continue from the last episode being episode 8, and as the usual, I'm just going to use my posts, my graphic design post as an introduction, and today I will be going over the IPCA at cost application. Keeping you guys in the moment with the case at the moment. Okay guys, so basically I am actually the victim of crimes. I am the plaintiff of this case, but the case has been going on historically for over 9 years. I've been representing myself in court in New Zealand because we can do that. However, I'm challenging the unlawful strikes written by the judiciary and also proving what is actually a scandalous court. So I'm going to be just going over the evidence and try and get to the point. So a lot of the stuff is already an exhibit, but for the sake of my criminal case I have to keep everything in the moment. But according to the legislation, I am a vulnerable adult, so anyone can be a vulnerable adult, and you are actually classified as the victim if somebody has actually committed offences on you as the plaintiff. Okay, so it is definitely a Crimes Act offence if victims' offences are actually occurred upon victims. In this case, the illegal scientific experiment that the government or whoever is behind it's going back since I lost my privacy had made me the offender. They've made me like the ogre, and that's where the defamation have come. But the reality is they have actually glued a substitute on me while I was working for my employer, and then there were several perpetrators in my environment, and that is what I'm contesting, is the privacy breaches. What they've put me through was life-threatening, and and a lot of other serious violent offences has occurred in the moment. However, it is a 10 years penalty. Okay, it's 10 years penalty if a victim has been affected by either the defendant, and a defendant can be a corporate body or an individual. Okay, so what I am challenging are the unlawful strikes and the judgments that are written by me, but it's clear that it's a judgment where an individual or we're locked out from the system, and this is how they're able to have the upper hand, and this is where the unlawful strikes come about. And with my own personal discovery and finding, eventually I found out over the years that they were actually coded me, and also inciting over myself and all the originals within my personal space. And that explains the sabotaging of my court cases and the evidence. However, it's been going on for so long. They have deleted a lot of evidence and damaged my personal profile. I'm not able to go forward, and they are secretly stealing, but the way they've set out the system, it actually enables some people to commit perjury, money laundering, relationship scams, twinning and switching, and their whole idea, motive and intent is for it not to backfire in the criminal jurisdiction. Okay, so what I'm going to be going over today is the cost application made by Judge Gillette. Okay, so the hearing was on the 8th of September 2025. It was released on the 12th of September 2025. Okay, so I am definitely glued to an evil spirit. Spiritually speaking, it's a dehumanizing of a person. the scientific experiment is that they actually studied my personality while I'm just under the cameras and while I was working for my employer, and then they would have their people glued to me. So there's always that shifting, switching, and this is consistent when I'm out in public. I mean, to be totally honest, I can't believe I'm even alive to even come this far and talk about it. However, I am. It is a downhill spiral financially. The motive and intent is to murder, and their motive and intent is to murder. But I have worked in a jury trial's depositions, so I'm actually able to actually prove a conspiracy case just by the documentations written about myself. And, so it's my word versus theirs, okay? But the illegal scientific experiment involves recording. So they've been recording me secretly for years, privately, without my consent. And I've known it. And once they study a individual, it's just a matter of committing espionage. And espionage can be committed in many ways. It is a global game. And then everything from my own personal experience, when I've gone through anything positive that I do, they secretly steal it, switch it, and give it to somebody else. So it has enabled them to also, interfere into my relationships. And the starting point really of my relationship is that they did use me for a relationship. So that's why I was denouncing all those relationships. But anyway, I want to focus mainly on the evidence written on paper by the judiciary, and my evidence and documentations, and also the evidence of the opponent. In my case, it's the Crown, who is a defendant, and I'm the plaintiff. So this here is, I'm so used to it, even though I've put all the effort and I know exactly what I'm doing as far as what is required. Basically, it's me proving a fact that is true versus the Crown, who has no evidence. Okay, the Crown has not had any evidence. Rather than trying to convince the judge that I'm impaired, I've got an illness, and then they use the law. And then they use case study note to support, and they think because I've got law degree and money that they should win. Okay, but that's not how it works in the real world of talking about integrity here. But my case, there's clear case of perjury that's taken place because of the unlawful strikes, and whatever happens, in between then, that's out of my control. I just know that I have done everything correctly. So here's actually a really good example. They sent out the judgment, I'm waiting for the judgment to come through, and I'm so used to them doing the opposite of everything, but every time they do it, it hasn't the effect on me still. Words can't explain the effect it has on me emotionally to read the judgments they've written, knowing I've done everything correctly, only for them to do the opposite. Okay, so it's, the way they've written the judgments, it's in favour of the Crown. Okay, so there's a lot of signs that I'm able to actually confirm that I am in it's a dehumanizing of a human being, and it is a conspiracy to commit murder in documentations. And it is actually a conspiracy as far as documentations written to ruin a person's reputation. So they sent this out on the 12th of September 2025. My brother actually died on this day. I'm just setting out examples, okay? Other keywords they like to use, is I don't know how it works out, but everything is done well in advance, and within my personal space I've actually used people's name that know me, or people they like to use names of the actual original people within my space, but I know it's not them. This is like in the call centers, people serving me, so everything is premeditated. My whole environment is contaminated. This includes going out in public, and so if you're driving in the car, when I used to drive the car a lot, they are gluing their cars to you, following you, and so forth. So they sent this out. I won't go over too much about that, but today I'll be focusing more so on the cost application. Now, while I've got this open, because this here is Judge Gillette, I am glued to the substitute, and the substitute is linked to Henry Cavill. So if it's not her, it's somebody else. But these people are just using different people all the time. But the whole idea for them is it's a game, okay? It's a real life game, and it's the rich man's game, obviously, but it's absolutely illegal, because the motive and intent is to take over somebody's personal territory and anything monetary. So in this case, my case is worth $60 million plus. Okay, there's 6 corporate bodies involved in this case, but they did this to me with Unison Dance Crew, and basically I just felt that God was just showing me with my relationship with Henry Cavill, that while I'm being pinned down, other people are retrieving funding money that doesn't belong to them, while I'm going about my business, minding my business, and doing what I was doing because I was so private. But it proves all the other incidents that took place in my life, and basically they've used me for a pecuniary advantage. So the result of this, I didn't get the result I wanted. But if you watch the other video clip I put up in regards to New Zealand Police, which was just the last one, that's an example of perjury and of court staff trading in influence. Okay, but this all explains the reasons why. I'm giving them real life facts. Okay, I don't make it a habit to make up stories or anything like that. At the hearing on the 8th of September, I actually told the judge that my background was I worked with in the jury trials depositions, okay, and so I've had to case manage murder cases, rape cases, serious fraud cases, and when I was doing my job, most of the evidence was submitted in documentations and exhibits retrieved. So I have learned how to read and actually ascertain facts, whether they are actually true or not. All right. So basically, I'm proving a fact that the judgments written about me is fraud, quite clearly. So what's happened is now I'm up to the cost situation. I can tell that the case officer for this case, I know she's not a lawyer, all right? So, and I do know that as a court deputy registrar, they're not lawyers, okay? But a lot of them are very, very experienced, like myself, but they take years and years and years and years to be experienced. So a job of a court deputy registrar is not to take sides, because they're not lawyers, and they're meant to actually they're the liaise between the parties, but their priority is to make sure that the judges don't write unlawful strikes. So their job is to make sure that the judges get all the evidence on both parties, not just one. They're not even allowed to give them their personal opinion or anything. All they're responsible to do is the case managing, meaning as soon as they get the evidence from the other party, they're meant to give it to the judge. Once a judge is actually, managing our case, it is only the judge that can give direction unless the judge is given the court registrar a direction. That's the only time they can give directions to the parties. Other than that, in between, their job as a court deputy registrar is just to pass the evidence to the judge. Why? Because if anything like what I'm going through, the judge has the right to find out, what went wrong with this case, and we'll actually find out who went wrong and who left out the information and not, and have not given him the information, him or her, and they could actually be charged. Like if I got myself a top-notch lawyer, the whole corporate body can be charged for sabotage, for discrimination, impeding rescue, you name it, okay? So anyway, this lady, Patty, she's the case officer for this case. Obviously, just because the judge has made a case in the favour of the Crown, that doesn't mean they've won, okay? So a cost application, the judge has given a direction to put in a cost application. So if you don't know what a cost application is, that is the costs that the Crown is going to charge me with their costs and the client, and the judge is also asking me, if you can see down here, to put a cost in memorandum in reply. So the cost evidence, I was able to, even though we come to this part, we can actually try and convince the judge that the Crown has misled the judge, and that's what I've done, okay? Meaning if I can satisfy and convince the judge with my evidence, the judge can still do a favour, do a judgment in my favour. But however, it's quite clear my cases like mine, a coalition making decisions over somebody's well-being and everything. That is absolutely unfair. I mean, I'm so horrified with my discovery to find out that, historically they've used me like a product, put my personal private life in front of a government or in front of a coalition to decide whether I live or die. This is after years and years and years of them using me for games and relationship scams and stealing. People have died in the process, but that is not my fault, okay? And for me, it's these unlawful strikes I am contesting. I am not having that against my name. It's illegal, but it is a criminal case. I am the victim of crimes, and just because I've been through a lot, but it's just the danger as a victim, and the danger to my own family and people in my own private life. It should never ever happened in the first instance, but it has happened. So what I'll be proving to you is what cost application is, and what I will show my cost application. But I just wanted to go over something. Just give me a sec. Okay. I'm just trying to think. The IPCA used Judge Chalice's judgment as support of evidence. So basically they're relying on all the judgments written about me, even though I have been doing my best to have those judgments overturned, but only to have them all sabotaged. But I have found that the opposing allies in this case keeps referring to Crichton versus Joseph, okay? I'm basically showing you what is a illegal commonwealth, okay? This is what they'll do. This is what I call an illegal commonwealth game by specific groups of people. And this is them using the courts versus, they're fighting for their reputation. This is what we're up against. It's war like Cold War, where Dr. John Joseph, he's the psychiatrist. So I'll just go over that evidence. Okay, so this here is Judge Chalice's evidence. This is so important. If I was dead, these are the kind of information that those who do investigation, like I could probably pick up things, like, because I did it as a job, reading documents, reading judgments. I can actually articulate evidence just from reading documents. Okay, it's a very experience, like it's very delicate skills, but it can be done. Okay, so this here was Judge Chalice's judgment. Okay, first of all, the name of the party should be Mina Crichton versus the Ministry of Health and City Med. That's what I commenced the cases. Okay, this is what you will be witnessing is what they've written versus what I've written. Okay, and I've worked for the courts as an occupation in the civil jurisdiction, the summary jurisdictions, jury trials, depositions, high profile cases. So I know exactly what needs to be done, and I do know how to read the laws. So, however, they've put Dr. John Joseph and others, but the names of the party should actually be Ministry of Health. That is the proper legal name, because I commenced the case, so it's my case. It is not the Crown's. Okay, so for some reason over the years, this is what I'm basically explaining is the illegal commonwealth. Okay, scandalous courts, rich people using their jobs, for their own personal reasons. Okay, whether it's a cultural thing or a religious thing. But I'm just going to go over the evidence that's in my profile. But this is the kind of thing that his name keeps popping up. Okay, but let's go. And I've had a lot of Indians in my space too. Okay, I'm not racist, but I have to describe the people in my space doing substitute, following, stalking. I'm telling you, they're in everything. They've got their foot in the door, and if it's not them, it's the Croatian. If it's not them, it's the Tongan. If it's not them, it's the Europeans. It's all the extremists in my case, okay? If it's not them, it's the Croatian, okay? I'm explaining the illegal Commonwealth game, but these people do not represent all of their whole country. We're talking about defendants here. I'm saying they're breaking the law, and they have broken the law. But it's a scandalous court, and and it's all about money. There's a lot of money involved here, and also if it's not them, it's all the Asians. Okay, so they're all ganging up on me, on one single woman. All right. So here, this is the judge's chalices, and the first statement of defense. I wrote it where the defendants, I wrote on them singular, okay, and they actually are lost. Yeah, Dr. John Joseph, he lost. Dr. Ickham, she lost. Joanne Shislop, Co-Asian, she lost, okay. Okay, and I say, I have a reason to believe, and I know I'm right, they are linked to the relationship scam. They're linked to Eko Harunga. They're linked to Moana. They're linked to Chai, whatever her name is, Asian. I'm explaining to you guys what they are doing to me secretly. All right. So they lost. This here is actually the Ministry of Health. Okay, so this one here, the 5th and the 6th medical practitioners, they're both European women. Okay, but I won against them too. The evidence showed that they were both nurses and they didn't qualify, but they were the ones who wrote the mental health report on the 9th of July 2009. And I was really upset when I read the report. They put words in there that I was raped and other things. They wrote about my people in my private life, but I could tell straight away they were creating evidence. Okay, that's my point I'm trying to say here. I'm basically proving a fact that these people are digging up people's past, the glue, the recording, and then they're creating evidence. That's what they're doing. They wrote that I was really upset when I read this report. In fact, I remember crying in tears when I was actually fighting back tears when I had a meeting with the Ministry of Justice going back to 2010 about that report. But no one did nothing about it. So I will carry on. Okay, I will prove what I wanted to show, drag out Judge Chalice's. So what you're witnessing is perjury. And so these people using just because they've got a law degree, and what I found, they've tried to confuse me. Here I am telling them my truth of things that actually really happen, and these people are trying to confuse my mind and trying to make me that's what they're doing. They are trying to confuse me because they obviously they don't want to admit, and they are taking advantage of an individual. So if we just have a look at here, see on point 51, the judge here has actually, I therefore strike out these portions of the statement, meaning that the judge kept on she didn't strike out to the, she striked out the 4th, 5th, and 6th defendants. So we'll go back here. Okay, so this here, the 5th, 4th, and 6th defendants, they still had a case, so I appealed that. So that's what happened. But these three I won, and because the system is the appeal, if a case is still under appeal, these cases have to follow suit because they all have to be dealt with together. So legally by law, an order has not been made yet. They are Ministry of Health clients, okay, but they lost. So we'll go back here. Yeah, point 52. You won't have access to this, so, this is a good learning thing for everyone. So here it goes. I therefore not satisfied the grounds to strike out the plaintiff's claim against the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd defendants are made out. The portions of the statement of claim relating to those 3 defendants will remain. So that actually means I've actually won. Okay? But for some reason, throughout the last 9 years, the extremist Indians and the Maoris, the extremist Maoris, we're talking about extremists here, okay, they do not represent all the other good people. We're talking about a bad, evil system of people with wrong motive and intention, with people who are using their jobs for the wrong reason, people who are actually secretly killing individuals, and they've become addicted to this organized system. So I'm back here on the judgment of, because the Crown have used Judge Chalice's case, and I know that one of the Crown referred to me as if I'm mentally impaired. He referred to my mental health, and then when it was my oral submission, I referred to the Crown's evidence being impaired, meaning fraud. Okay. So let's go with what I'm going over. Okay. Alright guys, so I'm just gonna go over
take some notes of our conversation. Look, first of all, thanks for
this is Tony Fisher, General Manager for the Ministry of Justice.
So Mina, can I know, Glenn, that you've got my letter, but Mina, can I just confirm that you've received my letter dated the 25th of September?
Yes, I've got it in front of me.
Yeah, okay. Look, again, thanks for calling and participating in the meeting. My letter's self-explanatory, well, I hope it's self-explanatory, but I just wanted to go over a couple of things. Firstly, to reiterate the purpose of this meeting. And the purpose of the meeting is to consider the possibility of suspending you, Mina, from your employment on full pay until the current investigation has been completed. So I just want to emphasise that this is not a meeting to determine the outcome or make decisions on the investigation itself.
Thank you.
It's a meeting to consider the possibility of suspending you on full pay from your work until the investigation has been completed.
Okay, so this here is actually the video recording is actually an exhibit. And in this recording, it has Tony Fisher, who is actually the General Manager. Okay, this is an exhibit, guys, on file. It has Tony Fisher as the General Manager, and it's got Sean Graham Hayward is the barrister for the Ministry of Justice. It's got Glenn Cooper, who is the Public Service Association, and also a plaintiff. So if you listen to all this, I won't go over it. I will put the link up there so you can all go and listen to it for yourself. But just listen to the recording. I could tell that all this was all part of me. I can actually prove in the court of law just from this video clip that they had that everything about them getting rid of me was all premeditated. Okay, there's a part in here where Tony Fisher actually said something about suck eggs. So basically, he was like, I think he might have forgotten that I'd recorded it. I actually got permission to record it before I actually recorded it, because what actually happened was, when I found out about this meeting, I didn't know what it was about until Glenn Cooper told me while I was waiting outside with him for the meeting to reconvene, and we did a teleconference. It's a teleconference meeting. And so when he told me the Ministry of Justice intention that they were going to medically retire me, it's cool. Yeah, so like medically retire me, and I wasn't happy because he told me that just before the meeting. And so I'd made the decision that if the meeting was not going to get recorded, they were not going to allow me to record it, there was not going to be any meeting, because I felt I was being set up. And that is the actual truth. They did set me up. Okay, this is consistency with all what I was going through while I was working for my employer, the harassment, the stalking, and everything I've already mentioned. So I will put this recording up for yourself so you can all listen to it in your own time. All right, this here is also an exhibit, okay? I know this has been going on for so long, but I have not been able to go forward. Okay, this here is an exhibit. This is a letter dated 1st of December 2010, and this here was in the protected disclosure, so you can see the Ministry of Justice's letterhead right there, excuse me, and it's dated the 1st of December 2010. This here is actually an exhibit on file, so I don't know, because I know they've gotten rid of a lot of stuff. And yeah, so all this documentation is clear evidence of cybercrime. It's talking because I'd actually sent out this email guided by PSA, a PSA delegate at this point in time. Whether these people are alive or dead, it's still an evidence against the Ministry of Justice. So this here was written, signed. This is the actual Northland Region Manager at the time for the Ministry of Justice. But this here is Tony Fisher, General Manager, and he was aware. Okay, before I actually got medically terminated on 1st of December 2000 and what year was it? 2015. He knew about the protected disclosure. Okay, and so did this person here, Chris West. They knew. Okay, so in between 2010 leading up to me eventually getting derailed, okay, so I actually won the case against my employer while we're on that note, and then I just resigned because I wanted that medical unfair dismissal, medical terminated decision cancelled, and so I did win that case. But I did want my job back, but they wouldn't give my job back. You know, they'd already made up their mind they wanted to get rid of me. And this is where the relationship comes in with Eko Hardunga and Dan Brady, okay? But it's consistent with everything else that I've gone through. But in saying that, where we're going with this, Chris West, he was a senior human resource advisor. I had a meeting with him and Lauren, who was my manager at the time. I think it might have been on or about 2013. It's on my clips anyway. And I brought up the protected disclosure. Basically, I kept pointing them to the evidence that I'd submitted. Okay? So what I'm saying is they left me in there. They left me in there as like, you know, in the midst of a pack of wild people. I mean, they were stalking me. You know, they saw the advantage of doing what they did to me. Okay? But they did leave me in there. And at that point of time, you know, I was a single parent with 3 kids. But they left me in there. What else could I have done? It wasn't even safe for me to leave my job because I knew I'd been poisoned. And then that report that they wrote on the 9th of July 2009, they put in there I was raped. I didn't tell anyone. I did not tell anyone. I was really upset. And after all this time, they already knew my financial status. They had retrieved all my bank accounts. And yeah, so, and then I had the car accident, injured my neck. So that was Tony Fisher, and this here was an exhibit. And IPCA got these. That's what I'm saying. IPCA got all these exhibits and documentations. And so did New Zealand Police, but they did nothing. Okay, guys, so this video clip I will put up too.
For my lawyer.
Okay, for your lawyer.
Yeah.
This is Dr. John Joseph.
So when you say your lawyer, could you explain?
Oh, she's going through a court case and she just...
That's my mum.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. You can also ask access to our notes.
That's excellent.
All right,
Yes,
so once
I
you
know.
have finished that, then you can.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, what's the court now? What's the court case for?
I've been unfairly dismissed.
Oh,
And the Ministry of Justice trying to make out that I've got a mental health issue when I don't. Yeah. And I've got their report here of a doctor actually medically terminated my employment and he hasn't even met me.
Okay, so this year I'll put the clip up because I'm just looking at the time. And you can listen to this on your own. This is Dr. John Joseph, right? He's a therapist. But the illegal scientific experiment turned into a warlike commonwealth, okay, of whatever they want to call it. But this is what you would call a conspiracy, okay? Because I know of all the things they've done secretly using the courts. But this is pure evidence of the recording. I got permission for this too, because I asked. He recorded his bit, I recorded mine. But in saying that, he still lost. He did lose his case. But it turned into a cultural and a white supremacist thing. So just hang on a moment. Okay, so this here is Iko Haronga back then, okay? So if you can see, there's a white female there, but this is what they're actually doing. They're pairing up, okay? I'm basically showing you all what the twinning and switching going on, okay? So it's the white supremacists pairing up with other cultures. But the reality is the white supremacists are only using other cultures. Like, they're feeding off each other's pride, they're cheating, they're using their family and friends, they're coding, and then it becomes an illegal Commonwealth game. So this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. What is how the actual game involves the twinning, the switching, and then there's probably several other perpetrators behind grooming them, but it does link to other government officials. Okay, so they're all just going through using substitutes and listening and recording, and they can easily shift the change or the evidence on the wrong people, and the wrong people get arrested. Okay, so this, I'm just basically showing you the evidence. She doesn't look like that now. She was actually a police prosecutor. I have a reason to believe Chai was also a police prosecutor. But that's what I'm trying to say. Even with Amy Denton, the police prosecutor that I had, I think his name is Warren. I have a reason to believe he's somehow also linked to the Amy Denton. So all that, what I'm saying is, these secret agencies are secretly breaking the law. That's what they're doing. They're pinning people down and then using the technologies and the public to enslave people and be their informant and spy. But, I'm just explaining that's what's actually happening. And then it's even more dangerous because they're coding globally. So all I'm saying is, if you participate in something like that, you put yourself at risk and you put your whole family at risk. It's just not worth it. Okay, so the starting point, really, they have used me for relationship scams. People have just used me secretly for relationship scams or just to get their foot in the door, okay? And that's why I've had to denounce all these relationship scams, because they're secretly trying to steal. And that is the case. So I'm just going over everything quickly before I go on my show you the next document. So clearly it's a conspiracy to commit murder historically. Okay, so they've animated or inanimate, it's called. So to them, I'm dead. So the evidence is all intentional. The trickery is it is a conspiracy upon innocent victims, but the trickery is that they're using the misuse of devices. They are coding, okay, and these people are in your space. They're doing psychological, indirect, acts. That's actually a conspiracy. They walk around like zombies. So what I'm saying is they'll do anything to sabotage. They'll break all the laws. They will even kill if they think that they can get away with it. And they are inciting by using the devices. All right, guys, I'm going to go over my cost application. Okay. This is my cost application. So I've actually told the judge that I'm going to appeal both judges' judgments. In all honesty, I just want to press criminal charges and get over it. I'll just go with it anyway. So I've told the judge that it's also a criminal case. It doesn't belong there. Okay, but it is a coalition thing, guys. All right, but it's still wrong. regardless, government or not government. It's wrong what they're doing. It's illegal. It's fraud. It's conspiracy to commit murder on an innocent civilian, and so forth. And I've also, the plaintiff denies and opposes to pay costs to the defendant. And also, I've also stated that the courts and the council has misled the plaintiff and the associate judge, Gillette. Okay, so if you've read the judgments, it's quite unbelievably wrong. So I won't read all this, otherwise I'll be here all day. But you guys can just stop it. And this is my cost application. So basically, if it was an honest judge, or if it was an individual experience decision, I should have won, because basically I proved to the court that the courts have they basically sabotaged the case basically. So I'll just go over it. You guys can stop it and read it for yourself. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with me mentally. But the motive and intent is to steal my entitlement of everything. That is what they're doing. Okay, it's so illegal, it's not funny. And I have felt that the people that are actually sabotaging me are the people, like it's their families and friends. That's why they're inciting and coding. Alright, so I've just put all this together. You guys can just stop the video and read it yourself, because it's quite informative. But this also gives the criminal judges and the criminal barristers, and you all can see for yourself that I've already won my cases. Okay, but their motive and intent is to steal my cases and my money, eliminate me, and if I disappear from the face of the earth, it's very hard to put this kind of case together. That's why I've been really efficient with the evidence. And I am actually overqualified. Okay, they're all making these excuses because I'm not a lawyer or whatever, or I don't have a law degree. But I don't need a law degree to actually represent my own life. It's quite ridiculous. But I according to the laws, and I did prove that in my documents, that I can, as the victim of crimes, the aggrieved victim, I can represent myself. I've also asked the judge to get a Crown barrister to take over all my cases. Okay? So I've actually put in my fixed costs here. So this is confirmation. I'm just making sure they can't steal. That's why I'm doing it too, and they can't. So I put my fixed cost as $10 million. That's how much they've sued. I've sued them for. So it's a fixed cost. And that is what is on the statement of claim. So whatever the statement of claim has put, that the party has put on their statement of claim, I'm within my right, according to the law, to charge the IPCA for a statement of claim. And I already gone over this in my oral hearing on the 8th of September to the judge. It also means I put $2 million for reparation. And that's also because in total, just for this case alone, I've actually sued them for $12 million. So I've just broken it down, but I've made it fixed cost because that's where I got it from my statement of claim, and the $10 million is legally by law is what this case is worth. I've also put in there my own costs. I've been quite I didn't put as much as I should, but I just put a roundabout figure because, I charge myself $120 per hour. I'm actually worth more than that because I know I'm competent. But just for my case, I did this. All right. So I charged them for my time. But I'm being quite lenient on this, really, to be all honesty. So Anyway, so that is my cost application to the judge. All right, guys, and with that, I will go over what the judge has put on the cost application. The decision came in. All right. The decision came in on the 30th of September 2025. If you can notice, I didn't even put my name, Mina Crichton, on it, okay, as a plaintiff in person. But instead they've put plaintiff in person, and then they've only got the police here. So if you read it, there's a deception in the reading of the document, obviously. Can be easily made out that the actual defendant is the poor IPCA. Sorry, guys, you committed fraud. This here is a minute of a Judge Associate Gillette. Okay, but I can actually prove, if I was to sit down and go over every single judgments that were written by the judgments, I can actually prove just in words, in facts, a conspiracy. All right. We're talking about people who wants to murder me here. We're talking about people who wants to kill just by using devices, using people, to do their indirect psychological and mental abuse. Psychopathic offences is what it's called, and then they get free money for it. Okay, but this is actually our criminal case. This is the judge's response. Okay, so the Crown has charged me $12,000. But there's a lot of criminal offences involving submitting and writing documentations that's fraud. So unfortunately, all these documents is fraud, and can be challenged anytime. Okay. I'll just go over what the judge wrote. I'm currently working on another paper at the moment because communication with the courts recently, but personally, it's been really difficult for me emotionally. Like, our words cannot describe the mental injury that they've put me through. So I'm just going with it. To be totally honest, the whole system needs to be shut down. All of it. Okay. Okay, so basically they've taken away my Bill of Rights, human rights, and so forth. I have found that even though I've been doing the New Zealand Police and IPCA are both exactly the same evidence, but I found just doing the cost application, and every application I have done, every case is different. Not one of them are exactly the same, even though it's all about one person. So what I'm saying is, every case is a case by case basis. Not every single case is exactly the same. So keep in mind it's a left behind case, but I can actually undo all of it. Whichever direction God wants me to go with this, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to go with it. Basically, I feel that this is, I'm supposed to know all those things, and a lot of things I have accumulated over the years. I'm talking about my experience. They've all been from personal experience. Okay, so accuracy is really important, but it is definitely our left behind case. Okay, so that's why I've been denouncing all those women, okay, and Amy Denton and Natalie Vasquiso. I think everyone is woken up to what's actually going on here. They're so advanced in cheating and stealing, and it's so easy to eliminate the originals. That's my point. Eliminate the original's existence, and then they get away with money laundering. and other very, very, very serious conspiracy crimes. So yeah, guys, it is a criminal case. Okay, I'm going with it. I've got another documents going, and I'm just going with the process, and I know it's working, and I know everything's gonna work out all in God's time. So also this is where consent to death comes in. I have not consented to anything that they've done to me. Their whole idea is 100% to kill me. It is a conspiracy to commit murder. So their whole idea, motive and intent, whoever's behind this intent, is actually to murder their victims and then steal everything about them. Okay, so modern day or not, old school or not, it is definitely a wrong. It's like a very serious criminal case. And on that note, I just feel I need to just quickly go over something here. Okay, guys, it's a Crimes Act. It's actually this here is Section 63, consent to death. Okay, it says no one has a right to consent to infliction of death upon himself or herself. And if any person is killed, now there's another bit I left out, but the main point is I wanted to highlight on this law is that no one can kill you or set you up to kill you unless you have consented to it. What I have found with what I've gone through, when I got poisoned while I was working for my employer, I didn't know I was poisoned until a few days later, and then I started contracting and coughing, getting this whooping cough and all this and that, and then the length of time it went on for, and the pains that I got while I was coughing, like a burning sensation in my lungs, and what was described to me by Angela and the father of her child that got murdered, what she described to me was exactly what I went through, and that guy gave me the suspicion, and I already knew in advance because what she told me actually saved my life, and I knew that somebody was trying to kill me, and all the signs were there. So basically, while I was going through what I was going through, going back to 2010 and so forth, everything was all about me making the right decision in the moment. Okay, guys, so with that note, I just felt this is important legislation. If you don't know about it, you better know about it now, okay? And also just like organized crime. I believe people, I don't know who's behind making up these laws. Obviously, somebody who doesn't respect and appreciate life or other people's privacy and all the rest of it. But this new legislation was made out on 2019. It's called End of Life Choice Act. Okay. But I have to say that I know that a lot of people in my space who've actually stolen off me probably have used this End of Life Choice Act because they wanted, they don't want to pay the consequences of their sins, so they would rather take whatever they've done wrong to their grave. So I felt I wanted to kind of highlight that because when it comes to conspiracies like mine, the old system, everything is undone. Everything is dug up. They have to find out where's this and where's that person, what happened to this money. And what I'm up against is an alliance who doesn't want my justice, who doesn't want my case to be dug up. The thing is, if I'm not fighting back and doing what I'm doing, they're always conspiring. They're just sitting and waiting for the time to eliminate me, whichever way, because it's a game to them. All right. So, but as far as serious crimes and offences like myself, all the originals involved in my cases, they have to find out everything. But I have a reason to believe whoever's behind making these laws has not good motive and intent, okay? I don't believe in ending your own life. I don't believe in committing suicide. I believe that it's God who takes our life. I don't believe, we shouldn't. I believe God's given us life and it's not for us to take it away. That's what I believe. So I don't believe in suicide. I don't believe, ending somebody else's life and for them, it goes against everything I believe in as a Christian. Okay, I don't believe in this law. But what I wanted to bring up about this law is the danger, okay, of the things that I've gone through. They've isolated me and then they've contaminated my environment, keeping me pinned down. So the moment they know that I may advance, they conspire to stop it. Why are they doing that? It's because they don't want me to advance. Somebody behind the scene wants me to die. So it's a conspiracy to commit murder. And but I'm doing what I'm doing so then everything about me can get dug up. But what I'm trying to say is I told the courts that I won't go to the hospital because, I told the courts I needed help and intervention because I have a reason of belief that they will murder me under anesthetic. Okay? And you can just tell by the way they've written about me on using the judgments and the mental health assessments. They are creating a very, very sad story. A very sad story that's actually not true. So that's why I'm saying my bit, because I used to do jury trials, depositions, and the witnesses are allowed to, they have to explain their environment, what happened to them word for word. That is what the judges go by. But I have found that just because somebody else's truth has said that, people's truth are not exactly the same as another person's truth. Okay? So the danger of what I've gone through, a good example was when I got poisoned. I knew I was poisoned. I knew straight away someone was trying to kill me. Then I had the neck injury, okay? I knew that was a hit. So I believe that my case has to be dug up for the very reason so it doesn't happen to other people. Okay? Because these people are gluing themselves to the victims. They're acting it out. And they are killing people eye for an eye. But they're losing. Okay, so be safe. Don't take anything I say lightly. We're talking about psychopathic internal offences. They are using gangs. They're using social media to tip off the gangs. They need help. And the gangs are actually doing it. They're actually, they're actually involved in sabotaging, involved in hacking. I'm telling you, what they're doing is wrong. And what I found very, very serious is the police is not intervening. Okay? But I've left sufficient evidence for everything. The other thing I just wanted to go over quickly and then I'll finish up. I've written in my exhibits are galore of in the moment evidence, okay, to the police to investigate, and they've done nothing, absolutely nothing. And now they can actually be prosecuted. But it's been an exhausting thing for me because I'm making all these complaints. So all these documents I'm showing you, I've got police complaints galore in all these exhibits, okay? And what you will read is actual true facts and evidence, okay? The other thing I have found that they're doing secretly behind the scene is they are intentionally, deliberately making mistakes like spelling people's name wrong. It's just too many mistakes for people who get paid a lot of money. Okay, so I'm sorry, but some of these things are doing, they're high school errors. These people get paid a lot of money, okay, and it's not good enough. So, just what my suggestion is, just keep at it with the evidence, because that's what you need is evidence. and pay a really good lawyer or to take over your criminal case, and they can get prosecuted that way. But in saying that, I'm entitled to my own justice, and I'm nothing can be actually more accurate than what I am doing. Okay, so I'm just gonna, all these are all evidence, documentations. I have found that they're deleting stuff in the process. They have deleted stuff. They've deleted some places that used to be there, and it's not there anymore, but it can still be proven that they did exist. Doesn't matter if it's 20 years ago, and if any of these people are meant to be made accountable, according to the law, they will be made accountable. Okay, but they were it's actually acts of terrorism, just taking turns victimizing a person, personally victimizing a person, and that's what they've been doing. But they are hacking into my phones, okay? They're doing all, with technologies, anything is possible. And YouTube is a global thing. Facebook is a global thing. But I can prove that while I was working for my employer from 2000, when I started losing my privacy and so forth, what I'm going through right now is no difference to what I was going through while I was working for the government, meaning somebody globally was targeting me. Okay, that is what I can prove in the criminal jurisdiction. This is IPCA. IPCA have let me down, and so has New Zealand Police. Okay, guys, I think I'll leave it there. Okay, so you're watching Crimes Against Humanity. The dehumanization of a human. Okay, so they are inciting to mutiny. They are inciting by words. The musicians are using lyrics on songs to incite. And also the ads on TV or ads on the radio or ads on social media. They are inciting. The public are moved by the inciting. So the best advice I can give is stay alert, and if you suspect anything, then don't ignore it. Okay, we're talking about psychopathic offences. We're talking about people, the thrill is committing an offence without getting caught. If you can afford surveillance of your own, use it. Okay, but these people are attacking vulnerable people who don't know the laws and don't know what to do when these things actually happen. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna just end it there. We're talking about who is telling the truth, all these other women versus my truth. I'm just going with it. I'm exercising faith in the moment, I'll just continue. But it is, keep in mind, guys, it is linked to my court cases, and it is linked to the unlawful strikes. So yes, they have actually been doing unlawful hostage taking secretly. And yes, they have used my bills to harass me. So we're dealing with white collar crimes and blue collar crimes. They're using people's immediate family like a shield. Then they're using the hub desk. They're using the call centers like a shield. So basically anyone can be locked out at any time. So obviously when perjury is committed, these people can actually be disbarred. They can be disbarred for committing fraud. So that is why you become a threat. If you're an honest person, you will be a threat. They will break every single law in the book to eliminate you. Okay. And also on the reports that they wrote about me, they put in their rape. Yes, I am a rape victim, and yes, if God allowed it, yes, I would not have a problem to prove that in the courts. Everything I have said on my YouTube channel is pure evidence, and the guys that raped me, I was underage. Okay, I was only 14 years old. I was still a child. Over the years, so this is why I'm so serious about unlawful investigations. And it was two guys at that point of time. I was just a child. Okay, but it's not my fault. But it is very serious criminal offences. So I will, I'll just carry on, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, so this chapter will be part 8 from the following one. And yeah, so if you don't know what a conspiracy is, what I'm going through personally, I have a reason to believe people are stealing my entitlement. That is what they're doing. Okay, they're digging up people's past and then using it against them. They've misinterpreted. I have not. I can reassure you without a shadow of doubt, they have nothing substantial legally that will uphold anything that they have said about me in court. So my intention is to continue on with my other cases in the criminal jurisdiction. This one here, I'm just going to continue on with the processes. So I'm not an illegal immigrant either, okay? And I got my job the honest way, just like anybody else. But what everyone has done globally, these agencies or whatever they want to call themselves, they're breaking every single law. And yes, they are stealing people's benefit entitlements, all part of the gluing and getting their foot in the door. And yes, they've even used me to get their foot in the door to rich men. But some of these people are controlled by other government officials globally. All right, it's why it makes it so dangerous, the illegal Commonwealth Games. Some of these people are from people globally around the world, meaning someone in China, could be somebody in Japan, could be somebody in India, but it's people with lots of money. Okay, some of these singers are guilty. They are, using the lyrics of their songs as part of the game. Okay, so they're making money out of other people's suffering, but to them it's just a game. And the whole idea is to steal without getting caught. And then, what I'm trying to say is really easy to be set up, and they are targeting innocent civilians who are oblivious to the dangers of technologies and just not even realizing that they're actually targeted. All right, until it's too late. Okay, guys, so no one can just say I'm a victim when they're not. How do we find out if somebody is a victim? Easy. The evidence will speak for themselves, right? And that's another reason why it is $10 million for body corporates to be sued, because they have committed some pretty serious offences, whether it is their business is a public issue, or committing fraud, or lots of defaults, or contempt of court. So victims of crimes, they have a lot of entitlement, whether it's personal injury, work-related injury, mental injury, medical misadventure. So they've actually falsified my medical records. Okay, that's what I told the judge. They've actually falsified my medical records. There's too much of a consistency of mistakes. Okay, so unfortunately that makes them liable. So anything to do physical injury, like I had a neck injury, I got hit by the car, my neck has not been the same again. In fact, I may need an operation for my neck injury. Mental injury, personal injury, from the psychological and mental interference and abuse. Okay, it's definitely has taken its effect on me, and also myself personally doing all these court cases, being forced to to address the crime scenes over and over and over again. So there's a lot of emotional harm, and because of the use of the substitute. Yeah, so yes, I am a victim of crimes. Yes, I'm a rape victim. Yes, I'm also being used for, for games and scams that I have not consented to. So I will keep you guys updated with my court case. I'm just going with it, and it's quite interesting too, because I've had to go through the system to see where it's gone wrong. Okay, so I am a left behind case, and the opposing allies globally have used me illegally. So you never really put your guard down. You always got to just stay alert, and just stay alert. And I'll leave it at there, guys, and I hope you enjoy this video.